Yeah, don't just crack on. So as you say, because the
if you put yourselves on mute, and then if you do have questions throughout, you can just unmute yourselves and pipe up, particularly through the demonstration. If you've got any questions, that's fine. So you should be able to see my screen now. Let's just double check that on the right one. One on screen, yep. Okay, thank you. So thanks everyone for spending some time and watching this webinar. Appreciate you taking some time out of the day. Just to introduce ourselves, my name is George Smith. I'm the Managing Director at Cameron. And I'm also joined by Neil Bedford, our Product Director, who's going to do the demonstration part of the webinar. So today really came from meeting Richard at the SciCon conference, meeting at the bar, having a few drinks and talking about EPOS as you do. So started talking about our product KCPOS. And why that's particularly relevant for you guys is because it integrates with Sage 200 as standard. And what we mean by an integration, Neil will go into this later, it's far more than just pushing through the financials to the nominal. We have a really deep and rich integration with Sage 200. That means it can be particularly valuable for Sage 200 customers. And we've grown our product over the last 10 years through a few different channels. We do sell KCPOS direct ourselves. And then we have a full-blown reseller channel that are trained up on KCPOS. They implement and install it themselves, much like you guys do with Sage 200. But then we also have a bit of a hybrid of those two models with a referral partnership that we have with resellers, where pretty much they'll just identify opportunities, get us involved in the sales cycle, and then we'll pick up in terms of pre-sales, implementation and support, and in return for that we pay a referral bonus. So that's what we're talking about today, that sort of model, and using that as a starting point to get things moving. In terms of an agenda for today, I was going to do a little introduction to Cameron as a company and KCPOS, a bit of background on the product, talk about what's in it for you guys in terms of a referral partnership, what the commission structure would look like, and then I'm going to hand over to Neil, who's going to focus on our key verticals, because the sort of the unique selling points of KCPOS, firstly there's the integration, and that's always an important component of the sales cycle for us. But what we found is we've done well by focusing on a few key verticals where there's niche areas of functionality or certain industry needs that means that we're a really good fit. So I thought as a first webinar and first way to introduce you, it'd be nice to focus on those verticals rather than try and cover everything. What I wouldn't want you to feel is that you leave this thinking, all right, the two verticals we're focused on is all that KCPOS is a fit for. It's not. Some of our biggest customers are in what I call general retail, so large department stores and things like that that don't have a particular vertical. But the two that we're going to focus on, tourist attractions, museums, and then trade counter and wholesale as two areas to focus on today. And then Neil's going to sort of apply that to his core functionality demo, where he's going to give you a bit of an overview of some of the nice areas of KCPOS that people like and work well for existing customers. And he's going to pass over back to me. I'll talk through the pre-sales process, how that would work. So if you do have an opportunity, who you need to contact, what's your responsibility, what's our responsibility, so everyone's clear on that. And then we'll just finish with a few, like the next steps and some marketing collateral that I can point in your direction if you do have prospects or customers you want to talk to about KCPOS. So in terms of that history, Cameron's been around quite a while now. We've been around 35 years this year. We originally started as a Pegasus development house, so it's another accounting package that we've worked with for a long time. And then over years, we've grown to add different areas of expertise, and we became an Exchequer developer, and then 6-7 years ago we became a Sage developer as well. And KCPOS is always integrated with the accounts packages that we develop in, so we've always had an out-the-box, if you like, integration with these products. And for Sage, that means Sage 50 and Sage 200. In terms of KCPOS itself, again, it's been around a while now. It's a stable product in terms of, it's matured to a good level with 10 years of experience developing KCPOS. Good referenceability, over 2,000 tills sold to date, as I said, across a variety of sectors. But what I would say is it is still a product that we're heavily developing. It is the primary product for Cameron. We develop it with two 2 development releases a year, a minor one in the spring and then a major one sort of autumn winter. So it's only last month we released our latest version, KCPOS version 3, what was one of the most significant releases of enhancements that we've done in a number of years, and Neil's going to show you a few of those things around online ticketing and around admissions in particular. We made some really big improvements this year. And just reflecting on what I've already said, really, we've built the success of KCPOS on a strong accounts integration that's far more than just pushing through the nominals, you know. So we're talking about customer-specific pricing, credit limits, creating sales orders on the till, so they're ready for you in Sage 200. So it's another level of integration to what some EPOS providers might say they do. And then, yeah, we've built that success on visitor tourist attractions, trade counters and wholesale. As a rough idea, about 20% of our tills are in tourist attractions. So we're ranging from museums to stately homes, some nice like sort of medieval, not medieval, Victorian towns like replicas. So that's a big site of ours. And then trade counters and wholesale, another 20% is there. So that does mean there's 60% of our tills across a variety of verticals, but they're just 2 that we do particularly well with, and they're a good place to start your focus, really. So in terms of the referral partnership that I've mentioned and what that would look like, the way we do this is for successful introduction. So if you send a referral our way and it closes into a deal, we'll pay a referral fee on the total value of the KCPOS software and the first year's AMC. So standard, that'll be a 20% referral fee, but we are keen to get you guys interested and get you started on this. So for the first successful referral, we'll pay 40% on that, because we do want to start a relationship with Pinnacle and sort of hit the ground running with this. So to encourage that, we'll pay a 40% referral on that first deal. So 20% of what, I guess you might be asking, and what does a decent sized KCPOS deal look like for us? Well, I've just picked out some that have come from our referral channel over the last 18 months. So you can see these range in scale and value, but they're not insignificant deals when we're talking about software spend. So you can see ranging up to 18, 20 grand for some of our bigger deals, but some of the more straightforward ones can still earn a decent bit of commission. I think the feedback we've had from other referral partners, as well as it's nice to earn a referral fee, having KCPOS and recommending KCPOS had a number of advantages. In some cases, we've had some Sage 200 new business for some referral partners where the EPOS was actually the driving force behind the sales cycle, and that's what they went out to market for originally. And then the Sage 200 went alongside, so it helped them with their timelines on the Sage 200 element of it. And then it's obviously just another thing that's integrating with Sage 200. It's bringing them into the sort of Sage 200 ecosystem and keeping them as a committed customer, because they've got another part of their business that's integrated with their accounts package. So there's sort of 2 elements to the benefits of, or we feel, of the referral model for you guys. Yes, it's nice to get the kickback, but it's also something else to talk to your customers about and something else to build into your sales cycle. I'm going to pass over to Neil now, who's going to go through, like I said, those 2 key verticals that we think are a good place to start the focus. So there's a few of the names that we've already have up there now. As you can see, they're ranging across museums, some really nice brands like RAF Museum, through to stately homes, Betton Agnes Hall. Beamish is a big site up in the northeast. That's the Victorian town. There's over 30 tills up there. So yeah, really mixed, and it's not always just classic museums. Like, you've got holiday parks in there as well, but have similar sort of attributes and elements. And Neil will go through sort of why we're a good fit there. So I'll pass over to him now.
Good morning, everybody. So yes, as George says, I will now take you through and just talk about some of the key features of KCPOS, some of its key functions, and where we fit well in those industries that we've talked about for the tourist and trade counters, but also generally where we work well and how KCPOS works really well. So just first of all, looking at the tourist attraction side, what we've all got in terms of a tourist attraction side that makes us fit really well is admissions functionality, individual tickets, family tickets, annual tickets, and as George mentioned, with this year's new release that we've just done, we've done a full integration with online ticketing, which means that we can now have fully mobile tickets that can be purchased online, redeemed at the till, purchased at the till, be able to see online, full sets of functionality, membership, sign-ups, everything. Along with that, we also deal with gift aid. So a gift aid from a tourist attraction and a charity perspective is obviously crucial and very key for them to be able to record gift aid information so that they can claim that back and so on with the government. KCPOS supports gift aid as standard, and with the DigiTicket integration for the online ticketing, it also has a full integration to their gift aid support. So again, there's then one centralized gift aid system that the full information can be extracted from. Trade counter and wholesale. So again, some big names in terms of variety of different styles within those trade counters and wholesale, ranging from decorators, merchants to windows and door manufacturers, kitchens, bedrooms, places, and again, safety footwear, clothing, all of that style of industry. So again, works very well, and reasons why. Stock control, because we have, as George mentioned, and I'll talk a bit more about it as we come to the demonstration of the product, because we have such a tight integration with Sage 200, the actual tills know about the stock levels, know about the multi-locations, know across the business what's going on, so that we're able to see from one branch to another what stock levels are available at each of the different branches. So if one branch hasn't got it, they can see whether another has. Also, again, with the tight integration that we have, we also have the ability for customer specific pricing. So where in Sage 200, we've got a price book set up associated with a customer. That price book is passed to the tills. The tills know everything regarding that customer, their prices, their discounts, their structure that sits behind it. So with that, the tills will then calculate and use exactly the same pricing structure as what the Sage is doing to make sure that all customers get those same deals as if it had gone through Sage 200, going through the tills. And again, seamless order processing. So from the tills, we can create deposit sales. We can create a sales order. A sales order can be created on the till, pushed through and gone through into Sage 200. And we do even have some customers that are using the KCPOS till front end as a tele-ordering system. So it's a very quick and rapid way for people to be able to take sales orders over the phone, put them into the system, and they'll end up in Sage 200 very, very quickly and very easily. So again, another use for the KCPOS system from there. Okay, let's actually flick over and have a look at the physical product itself. So I'm just going to open up KCPOS. I'll physically show you now the tills themselves. So what I'll do, let's take him out of the way. So hopefully everybody should still now be able to see the till that physically exists in the center of the screen. This obviously normally is on a touchscreen environment, touchscreen till. Doesn't have to be, but generally is from a speed of operation. And the KCPOS till software that you're looking at is our general front end. And from here, this can be tailored and tweaked as we need to with a variety of different custom menus and setups. Just first of all, just to finish off what we talked about earlier in regards the integration with Sage 200, KCPOS has a Windows service that sits in the background that basically is sitting, monitoring and working with Sage 200. It's seeing any new stock items are added, any changes in prices, any stock levels that change, and it's sending that change of information out to the KCPOS tills so that they have all of that new information and all up-to-date information, along with customers, new customers, account balances, credit limits. That sort of information is all sent across to the tills as we use them. So just having a look at some of the functionality of the tills, the general stuff that's going on. So from a general usage of the till's just broken down into 4 simple sections. We've got our transactional grid, our action buttons in the middle, our right hand numeric keypad and a few extra buttons, and down the bottom we have our custom menu. And the custom menu is an area where the customer themselves is able and is taught how to create additional menus. One of the key features that KCPOS has not just in the industries that we've talked about, but across multiple industries, is its flexibility in terms of being able to be configured with the same system, but to work in a variety of different ways. So we can configure the till system so that, for instance, in a visitor and tourist attraction, we can configure the admissions desk to have one set of menus at the front end so that we're set up with admission tickets and ready to go in. But we could then have a different menu on a different till. So if we was to look at a different till, different setup in, for instance, our shop within the actual same tourist attraction, we can now have a totally different menu, still linked to the same Sage 200 system, still using the same physical data, but its setup, its configuration is done in such a way that it suits the environment that it's in within that industry. So it's very easy for us to be able to do. And these menus we can configure with text, pictures, any combination of both that we wish. So it's very, very easy for us to be able to set them up, switch between different menus, switch backwards and forwards. I mentioned earlier regarding customer specific pricing, the tools themselves know all about our sales ledger accounts. So from Sage, the system will know all about our accounts. So I can go in, I can see our customers, I can select, I can highlight one, I can do an inquiry about the account that will tell it its current balance, its credit limit, and so on. And again, our tills will fully respect those balances and credit limits. So if, as we go to post a transaction, the customer is going to go over their credit limit or already is over their credit limit, we will be warned, and subject to security permissions, I can optionally choose to override it. If I don't have permission, a manager will need to come along and authorize that to go through. As I mentioned as well, the fact that the system knows about our sales ledger account, it also knows about our customer specific pricing. So the system doesn't need to, you don't have to go in and override the pricing per customer or anything. The system will know and it will calculate it. And it will use that whenever. So you can still go through the system, scan a load of products, put them in. The customer then goes, oh yes, by the way, I've got an account with you. You can select the account at the end of the transaction partway through, and the system will recalculate that whole transaction to that customer's own specific price list. So it's a very straightforward, very easy process. And again, with that, we're also able to, subject to the customer having credit terms with us, we're able to actually put items to tender, to actually put them to account. So this will mean that it will go on the account as an outstanding invoice. We can have the option to be able to do it as a sales order, push that through onto the account, away we go. So it's very straightforward and very easy for us to be able to push them through. The system can be set up in both trade counter or retail mode, which allows us to be able to have either VAT inclusive or exclusive pricing displayed on the screens in the totals, etc., just to make life easy for the specific environment that you're in. And again, you know, we have part of the version 3 update that George mentioned earlier, the DigiTicket integration. What this allows us to do is to be able to have an online ticketing system where a customer can go online, they can buy a ticket, they can buy a membership, but the tools are able to see and work with that in a live environment. So if I go to my DigiTicket events, I can get a list live from our DigiTicket website of all of our events that's on. I can pick one of those events. How many tickets would I like? I would like 2 of those. The system will now give me live information from our website of all of the available time slots that are available that have sufficient spaces for us to be able to work with. And if I was to select one of these time slots to actually use and accept that, the system will now reserve that while we process the rest of the transaction, so nobody else can take that space while we're doing it. So it's a very, very live interaction with the website. Again, buying online memberships, etc. And again, you know, customers using it for things like Santa's Grottos, where there's a time slot, certain number of children, certain time slots. Works very, very well and very, very smoothly from there. And again, it's all as a live feedback to the website. So again, when you sell a slot from a till, it updates the website live, so that slot is no longer available for anybody to buy on the web. Again, other sorts of things that we can do from a specific industries. We talked regarding earlier the idea of trade counter. One of the ideas from a trade counter perspective over the phone in terms of when you're doing stuff with a customer is the ability to be able to haggle with a customer. And we have a specific screen for this that allows us to be able to see each of the different products with each of their retail price, their trade price, their cost prices, and their gross profit. And from here, we can prick products, we can override them and change around with the actual haggling of the screen. So if we were to say, okay, I need to make a minimum of 30% in terms of from my profit, that will recalculate and tell us what the price is as a minimum we can sell it at. Or we can override the price to be able to say, well, if I sold it at 60 pence, what profit is it going to make me? So it's very easy for us to be able to see and work with those prices from a trade counter perspective and be able to see our overall gross profit that we'd make on that whole transaction. So again, very, very specific to that sort of style of industry, but also can be used in a variety of different places. So it does give us that flexibility. Now, one thing that George hasn't mentioned earlier, which I will just mention, is another area that we do have from a KCPOS perspective is hospitality. And our hospitality, again, in the environments that we're in, works really, really well. So for where we've got a visitor or tourist attraction that has an admissions desk, a gift shop, but they also have a cafe, or they may even have a restaurant. Hospitality within KCPOS allows us to be able to have full table management. So we can see customers in terms of giving them a table, allocating them a space, number of covers, running up a tab. And from that tab, we can then split bills, multi-payments, reprint bills, etc. So it's very, very slick, very smooth. And again, we can set somebody up a tab in a bar, move them to a table, take their bill with them, etc. So again, from a hospitality perspective, really, really good, really, really simple and easy to use. Second level of hospitality, again, works really well. Most of the visitor and tourist attractions that we do have some kind of an event hall where they actually are able to hire out it for whether it be a wedding, party, that sort of thing. And in those environments, the same KCPOS till system they want to use, but they want to use in a bar style hospitality mode. And KCPOS has the ability to be able to flick into that mode very, very easily. So now we're looking at a food and drink bar, and we can go down and we can very easily look at our spirits, cocktails, pick the drinks that we want very easily. We can flick over to our food menu, see our starters, our mains, sides. So it's very, very smooth, very easy for us to be able to work with. And again, we can handle all of the style of stuff for, we should take a steak, how would we like it cooked? What would we like sauce-wise? Chips, jacket potato, and so on. And again, because it's hospitality support, we support full kitchen printer facilities. So again, as soon as we take this order, it will now print out in the kitchen the order for the appropriate table number. So very, very straightforward, very, very easy for us to be able to use and to work with. KCPOS itself, above and beyond what Stage 200 has from its customer special prices, its quantity breaks, and all of those styles of discounts, KCPOS also has its own discounting system. And that discounting system allows additional discounts to be created above and beyond everything that you've got. So we can create offers, for instance, which are buy X, get Y free. You can do meal deals, so buy any crisps, any drink, any sandwich for a fixed price, that style of pricing. But each of those can also then be set up to work on a date range, a time range, and a day of the week. So we can run a promotion that is just running for the month of December. It is running between 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, but it's only running on a Friday and a Saturday. So you can pre-configure all those within the system, and the tills will automatically work with these and follow these all through. So it's very, very easy for us to be able to use. Finally, just from a general point of view, from a tills perspective, the tills themselves also have the ability to be able to have loyalty customers. Rather than having to create every customer that comes through the door in your sales ledger account within Sage 200, the system has the ability for it to be able to create its own loyalty customers. So within here, we can create customers, we can look at them, and we can take their details, associate swipe cards with them, pictures, etc., and then be able to view their transactional history. When they came in, what did they buy, and so on and so forth, as well as being able to earn points. And what this allows you to do is obviously be able to, similar to you would do with your Tesco's club card, be able to handle and work with those scenarios. So we can see who's been in, bought what they've bought. If we need to do a product recall, who's bought it, you know, be able to see and get that information to be able to send it back from there. So it works really, really well, excuse me, in that respect, but keeps the customers separate from the actual main sales ledger data. So the reporting and analysis can be done within KCPOS, but the actual transactions themselves will still flow through into Sage 200. We will push them through into the sales order book, convert them to delivery, invoice, put a payment, allocate them together, all through as we go through. So it's very, very straightforward and very easy from that respect. One of the other big things that we did from the KCPOS version 3 release was we introduced our own KCPOS dashboards with the version 3 release. And this is dashboards that can be published to the outside world. Each user's got their own logins, etc. And within the dashboards, you can have a look at reports, configurations, and again, you can set your own filters and so on up on these dashboards. So you can see, look at data, see trending of this year versus last year, all of those styles of things. So you can see exactly what's going on with the different data and so on when my machine catches up with me while I'm trying to do a demo at the same time. But what this allows us to be able to do is now be able to see and analyze the data in a very quick and easy motion. So again, if I look at transactional level data, when my machine decides to play ball, what this will allow us to be able to do is to be able to look and see data at an individual transactional level. So if we wanted to drill in for a specific day of the week, see what's been sold by a specific operator, what products they've sold, all of that style of thing, the actual dashboards would normally show me. For some reason, not doing at the moment. Let me just restart those and see if we can get them to show us our dashboard. So as always, technology wants to play up when we're there, but again, we can also get then physical information regarding transactional counts. So we can see the number of transactions that's gone through on each individual till, as well as being able to see information regarding what's gone on each individual operator on the till. So from that data, this graphing system will actually pull up and show us, and I'll come back to it in a moment, the actual graphs of what's happened on the till with all of the data. Now, I have just had a question been sent through, which is, how does the drink side of things link to Sage 200 stock? Okay, so from a KCPOS perspective, there are two things that we do. One is the products themselves can either link directly to a stock product within, well, they all link directly to a stock product within Sage. So for instance, if we wanted to sell a bottle of wine, we could just link it straight directly to a bottle. However, obviously there are situations where we sell a small glass, a large glass of wine that come out of physical bottles of wine. And with that, what we have is we have a product that's called Stock Sweep. And what Stock Sweep does is allow us to set up a configuration of the units between, or conversions between individual units and their main base unit. So what we can say is, right, for a bottle, we will get 2 large glasses or 3 small glasses out of a bottle. And what will happen is stock sweep will run through the stock system and automatically adjust the quantities between the individual units, i.e. the large glasses and small glasses, and the bottles, and it will adjust to the base unit. So if the base unit is in bottles, it will automatically work out how many bottles have gone from large glasses, how many bottles have gone from small glasses, and it will adjust out of stock the appropriate number of large bottles, and obviously readjust the small glasses and small and large glasses accordingly. So there is a way that we handle it, and we do it quite a lot already. We have quite a few customers that obviously have a scenario where they have different units, if you like, in terms of handling stock. But the KCPOS system does handle it and works really, really well with those environments. I'll just go back to the graph now. It's decided to eventually show me, so we can see from a till perspective, each individual till number, how many transactions have been done between a physical date range, and again, by operator, actual number of transactions each operator has done. Along the bottom, we can see, again, between the date range. So it's very, very easy for us to be able to do. And again, these can be published to the outside world, to people to be able to work with and see. So that, again, you can do this on a mobile device, that sort of thing, to be able to see from a management perspective. And again, you can limit users to what they can see and what information they're able to have. My final point I just wanted to make on the KCPOS system was its ability to be able to work totally standalone. And with that, what I mean is, yes, it has a very, very strong integration with Sage 200. But what I also mean is that if, for instance, the till lost its connection to its main database, or you picked the till up and you went to a trade show for the day, KCPOS itself would still work. It still has all of the account customers. It still has all of their special pricing. It still has all of the products and their pricing built into it, because the actual till itself has its own snapshot of the data. So you can go to a trade show, you can trade for 2 days, take all of the payments and so on while you're there, come back, plug the till back in, and it will resynchronize itself back with Sage 200 and the head office. No problem at all. That's what it's designed to do, and that's what we actually have quite a lot of customers that do on a regular basis. So hopefully that's just given you an idea of some of the features of KCPOS and some of the areas to look out for in terms of from a POS perspective. What I'll do now is I'm just going to flick back to the presentation to hand back to George to be able to go through the remaining parts.
Thanks. So were there any questions on the demonstration apart from that one from Mark before we forget? Is there any specific questions from what you've seen there, or is there any areas you'd like us to go into a bit more detail? It's obviously a bit of a whirlwind tour. We just wanted to give you a sort of higher level view of some of the key areas that the main features that sell the products well. Are there any questions from anyone?
Where does all the barcode information sit? Does it all sit in KCPOS tied to the stock code in Sage 200, or do you have an extension in the Sage 200 stock file?
A mixture of both, but basically in Sage 200 we have our own extension that goes with Sage 200 to be able to associate the barcode in Sage 200, because from our perspective, the primary requirement is, the primary system is Sage 200 looking after everything. So we have our own barcode that we add into Sage 200, but we also integrate with 2 or 3 other systems out there. So the add-ons for instance, like Eureka and so on, that people have used from Barcodes, etc., the tills know about and recognise that automatically. So if a customer's got that in already, we'll pick that up, we'll use that, rather than having to add a separate field separately.
Okay, so if you're running a retail shop and you want to use the barcode that the manufacturers put on the products, like a tin of Coke or a Mars bar, you have to enter those codes into KCPOS. Well, obviously you'd have to enter them in, but so as they're recognised. Yes,
they go into the actual Sage 200 system, either into our bespoke fields or into another third-party system that's got the barcodes. But the tills then extracts those barcodes from the Sage 200 and then has them automatically to use. So if you went into Sage 200 then added a new barcode, that would automatically get pushed over to the tills for them to work with and see.
Okay, cool.
Somebody else has said about does it handle batch and serial items and actual costing? From an actual costing perspective, yes. Batch and serial tracking, as it stands at the moment, no. However, it is something we are looking at potentially doing with Sage 200. Obviously, there's a lot of complexities that go with that from a live information perspective. So that's where we're currently looking at from there. As it stands at the moment, we can capture serial numbers and batch numbers from the physical till. However, the physical posting of the batch and serials back to Sage to actually issue, if you like, these associated batch numbers isn't something we currently support. So batch and serial number tracking at the moment is a no, but the actual reality is, yes, it will come further down the line.
And one last one from me, which I think is an obvious answer, but I'll just double check. So from a sales ledger integration, you're either working as account integration by identifying the client at the till, or you're just posting to like a cash or revenue account if
Correct.
It's just capturing general footfall.
Correct. Yeah, I'm going to say the system can be set up to obviously you're either going directly to an account that you select on the till. If you don't, and you are just going to, if you like, a Joe Public general retail, you can either go to one specific account across all of your tills. You can have a specific account per till, or you can have a specific account per branch. So there's a variety of different combinations you can do, but each of those can be configured how you want it to be.
Yeah, so if you've got 5 shops, could you have 5 shops on this system over a network, or would they be 5 separate installs?
Yeah, most of our sites are multi-site, multi-branch configurations. So again, you've got a head office, multiple sites out there. Each site could have 1, 10 tills, whatever it is that you've got, all feeding back to that head office setup. So yeah, you'd have, in those instances, people normally have 1 sales ledger account per branch, so that they've then got a reconciliation of each individual shop's sales for the day, etc., that's gone on from a Joe Public perspective.
And do you have any capability of capturing, so let's say I'm a tourist attraction and Richard Sutter and his family have turned up, we do the 25 quid a head or whatever the prices are, but then you want to capture my details for ongoing marketing use, email, name, address, sort of stuff that could go into a CRM system. Have you got any capability for that? Yes,
the loyalty system allows us to do that, so we can capture customers' names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses. All of that information is stored within the KCPOS system, which you can then capture, export, use from there. And obviously, again, you only need to capture it once. You then have the facility on the tills of, have you been in before? Yes. If they've got a swipe card, you can swipe their card. If they haven't, you can find them by their name, address, postcode. And again, we've got integration with postcode lookup. So from a fast perspective, you're adding a new customer in, you take their house number, postcode, select the address, job done.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sorry, just to follow on from that, so that runs its own little like CMS database. Does that have integration into the likes of Sage 200 CRM? So as you say, you're only capturing the data once, but then you can go into your back office systems to then do the email marketing out of CRM.
We don't, but we have the facilities where we can spit the data out, and we've had customers that have then taken that data and then obviously use that, as we like, on an ongoing basis to import and merge into their CRM. So we don't have a direct integration with a specific one, but we have customers that have integrated their data into a variety of different CRM packages. So that data is there to be exported and used from there.
Okay, so from just trying to think, so then you've got the direct link from the KCPOS contact record to then create links into the sales ledger account within 200.
Yes.
But but then not on the. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
There is also the ability for that data when you're working with the DigiTicket integration. DigiTicket has its own membership database, which again then has the ability to be able to be used from an integration perspective to link on an online CRM perspective to different systems there. So there are many different ways that people take the data and use it from an integration working with other systems.
You think it's going to do some quite nice things in terms of you know, Richard's turning up to our museum on Tuesday, so it's captured that information on the online ticket. The day before, it'll send him an email and say, looking forward to seeing you. Here's the itinerary for the day. And then when he gets to the till and he checks in, it'll say, welcome to our museum now. Here's, I don't know, a meal deal for your lunch today. And then it'll know when he's left at the end of the day, can send him another email to say, thanks for coming. Here's a 20% off for your return visit. So DigiTickets, because it is focused purely on the sort of ticketing world, it does that part of contact management very well. So if they are integrating with the online ticketing element we have, then a lot of people would use that itself. In terms of Sage 200 sites, I'd say 20, I would guess 20 sites now.
15, 20, 25.
They do 20 to 30 sites that we'll have on Sage 200 now, and they do tend to be our larger sites. A typical deal for us, if just to give you an idea, we do sell some single site deals from time to time, but it'd be normally if they've got plans for the future. So typically for us, we'd start at, say, maybe 4 or 5 tills on a site. A good Sage 200 deal for us would have 20 or 30 tills, probably across multiple sites. And our Sage 200 referenceability is across industries as well. So we've got a large caravan park with 8 sites, about 30 tills, a number of our museums, you know, what are 10 till plus a Sage 200 sites. Large chain of decorators merchants in London, again Sage 200. So we should be able to have a Sage 200 reference site and a Sage 200 industry reference site for most of our key industries. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
No problem. So that's everything on questions. Moving on, just in terms of the pre-sales process and how this has worked in the past. What I wanted to do is give you a contact first point of call who's always in the office and needs to get hold of. So I've given you Dan McShannon, who's our KCPOS marketing person, who just focuses on KCPOS, so he knows the product well, and he's office based. So it's the first point of call if you've got maybe a quick question or you want to log an opportunity, you think there's something there. If you get in touch with Dan, and then he'll allocate that to a KCPOS salesperson who'd get in touch, get your requirements, and move it forward from there. So really, that's from your point of view. If you can just make that initial contact, and then we'll get involved, and we can run it as you want. Really, we've got some who like to keep us totally separate, so they give us a name and they say, look, I've let them know you're going to get in contact, and then don't want to hear anything till it's done. Whereas we've got others that say, let's go in together, and particularly if it's a new business one, you don't want to confuse things with lots of people talking to them. We'll just become part of your sales process. We'll come along to your demonstrations, and we'll do the KCPOS side alongside Sage 200 if you like. We can be as involved with you guys in the process, or as uninvolved as you want. But essentially, we'll do the pre-sales part, we'll do the demonstrations, the requirements, we'll quote, and then hopefully we'll contract, and then we'll directly invoice the customer for the Cameron KCPOS solution, and then we'll look after all the implementation and support going forward. But like I said, if you wanted to, going forward, start building us into account management visits, we can build them alongside. So it's clearly to the customer, it's a partnership. That works well for us as well. So we can be as flexible on that side as possible. But I thought it was useful there to sort of set out the responsibilities that we deliver as part of this partnership going forward. And then obviously, if it's a successful referral, we'll pay a 20% referral fee to you guys based on that initial software order and first year of the AMC. And in terms of next steps, one thing I'd encourage you all to do is look through your existing customer base as a starting point. Do you have anyone with a retail element? Do you have anyone with any of the verticals we mentioned today? But like I said at the start, don't just think, oh, I've got to look for museums and trade counters here. They're just two that we do have strong referenceability and a good fit. Like I said, some of our biggest customers are actually just large department stores, so the multiple site, and the real value there is the integration with Sage 200. So it's the idea that they've got all these stores around the country, but it's all integrating back to the same Sage 200 base, so they don't have to look after one stock listing, one price listing, all the reporting's coming back from one place. So if you've got a Sage 200 customer in retail, it'll be worth them hearing about KCPOS because of the value of that integration. Just point you in the direction of our website, kcpos.co.uk. That's a new website relaunched recently, so it's got new case studies on there. We've got videos, white papers, more information in terms of sort of the product that you could use as a first point of call. And there's also a few webinars recorded as well at KCPOS/webinars. At the moment, we've got a tourist attraction one and a trade counter one that we recently recorded. I'm going to be adding a new one of them every month. They're about 30-minute overview just for that sort of industry. So might be if you've got a customer who, you sort of want to show them a little bit of interest, it might be worth just giving them a link to that for the first step. In terms of key contacts, as I mentioned, Dan is, like I said, always office-based and would be available for any quick queries. He can send you any marketing collateral if you want to send out a PDF brochure or anything like that. He can give you any of that sort of information. And then there's me and Neil, who'd be happy to help. Neil on the technical side, and me for anything else. I can at least point you in the right direction of who we'd need to speak to on anything. And then just the final point, obviously today we're focused on KCPOS, what is our sort of flagship product at the moment, but we do other Sage 200 integrated solutions. One of those is a stock management system, a warehouse management system, that in the past has been restricted, I guess, because of the hardware that we've worked on. So we've worked on barcode scanners in the past, and we're totally in the middle of rewriting that product to be a Windows tablet-based product that just work with a barcode scanner rather than the full-blown handhelds. So that's a product that's coming out February, March, and it was just to let you know that's coming. It's going to integrate with Sage 200 commercials and financials, not the manufacturing area, but if it's someone in retail or in wholesale or something like that, where sort of about the stock management and using Sage 200 commercials, we're going to have a product there early in the new year. So we'll keep you posted on that one. Obviously, because it's going to be working on Windows-based tablets, the price point comes down. Rather than over £1,000 a terminal, it's going to be more like 250 quid a handheld tablet. And our software pricing, because we do obviously sell it at the moment, but it's about £1,000 a device, so it can become quite a cost-effective warehouse management system. That was everything from us. Are there any more questions in the short term? In terms of pricing, I'll send you I'll send you all this presentation. I'll send you the recorded webinar, a link to that. I'll send you a price guide. Just off the top of my head, a KCPOS license, the first till with the integration Stage 200 is £1,000, and then £600 thereafter for additional software licenses. There's annuals on top of that, obviously the implementation, and there might be hardware as well. We do have recommended hardware that if we're going into a new site that we'd recommend, but if we've already made an investment in hardware, we can test it, and as long as it's up to a decent level of performance, we may be able to work on that anyway. So prices can vary as a project, but just as a starting point, I'll give you the software prices. I'll send them over with a few brochures and things like that.
Perfect. That was brilliant, Neil. Thank you, Graham. Sorry. Thank you.
Any more questions before we finish, or is that enough for everyone?
Hi, I've just asked one on the chat, but it's, essentially you mentioned about retail, and where we've struggled within Sage 200 stock in the past has been the concept of the dimensions of the stock. Does KCPOS handle the ability to say, okay, well, we've got this jumper and it comes in various colours, various sizes, various materials, similar to how the old Sage 200 point of sale used to have a certain element, and also how Eureka Stock Plus works? Is there any way of handling the dimensions and setting up a stock codes or capturing of the information?
As it stands at the moment, no, there isn't. I understand what you've got, and we've got the same situation with a variety of other accounts packages that we integrate with, within the same situation. Now, what we have done is we have our own stock management system that allows us full matrix stock control. So we can do up to 5 levels of style, size, colour, fitting, length, those styles of things within their own back office system. And that back office system currently has links with other account solutions, but not Sage 200, so that basically when for instance, the invoice is then finally made, that invoice is posted through to the sales ledger of that account package. Now, in the past, there's never been a major demand in terms of the matrix stock from a Sage 200 perspective, but it is something we could relatively easily do in terms of integrating our matrix stock with the Sage 200 to give that functionality if it became an area that you've got, quite a few customers that fit that area, but Sage 200 doesn't work very well for them in terms of being able to do it.
Thanks.
Hi, can you tell me what versions of Sage 200 KCPOS will work with?
If you just give me 1 second, I will double check that for you. I'll just double check for you. We go back to 2009. Version 6. The version number wise, but basically 2009 year wise from a Sage 200 perspective. And it's on premise. Okay. It's not the extra. It's not online because online's slightly different from an integration perspective. We don't currently do the online version. It is an on-premise version that we integrate with.
One quick question, George. We work nationally across the UK and Ireland, so we've got sales resource in every corner of the country, really, or across the 2 countries. Does that cause you any grief? So, if Alan wants you in Edinburgh, or Siobhan wants you in Dublin, or Mark wants you in Brighton, sorry, that's Ian's patch, isn't it? Sorry, Ian, I'm coaching on your territory there. Is that giving you any stress? Or do you want to work geographically in any way?
No, we've got, if I think about it, in the last year, we've done projects in Northern Ireland, we've done North Wales, right down to the south coast. Some of the national parks we've got a few of them, and they managed to be in the most distant of lands, so that's not a problem. Typically, the way we do the sales process, we might start with an online demonstration if it's early days, so we could probably do a bit like what Neil's done here and qualify it to a degree anyway, and then before we move to an on-site detailed demonstration that might be a full half-day event or something, at which point we'd be happy to get someone wherever they need to be. So no, that wouldn't be a problem from our perspective.
Thank you. And Republic of Ireland isn't a headache in any way, shape or form? Euros and all that malarkey?
No. The tools will handle the different currencies and so on, and we've got customers that are already using in terms of euros, etc.
Okay, cool.
Excellent.
That's it for me. Anybody else?
No, it was good for me. Thank you, guys.
That's it, thanks.
Okay, I'll send all that information over today to everyone who's signed up, and then the people who couldn't make it, I'll make sure they've got a recording as well. And then we'll give it a while, and I'll probably pick up with you next week, Richard, or something, to sort of plan that.
Yeah, no worries. What I've said to my guys is that, to build their own relationship with you guys and Dan, and to, and just as they identify opportunities to engage with you, let you reality check the value of that opportunity moving forwards, and then it'll be blended. There'll be occasions where we have demos where it makes sense for us to do it together. Yeah. And that there are also opportunities where it just makes sense to do the introduction and let you crack on with it. But I think we'll have to deal with that on a deal-by-deal basis, because in some respects, moving between structured new business formal presentations through to unstructured workshops and fact-finding sessions, and then of course with the accounts team and the base customers, that's a different story again, where we're looking to sort of develop and deepen the relationship, and then we've got a hardware team who will also be looking to introduce it to their clients, and they might not even have Sage 200 in the background. You might find that they turn up one that's got access accounts or something like that. Yeah. So, you can expect all the variables basically from us.
Yeah, obviously we focused on Sage 200 today, but it's a good point from your hardware team. Neil, do you want to run through the account?
Yeah, I'm going to say just from our perspective, we have a full integration, like we do with Sage 200. We have a full integration with Pegasus Opera 2, Pegasus Opera 3, Exchequer, Access, Dimensions, Sage 50 and Sage 200, as well as having our own stock system that can go into the system where customer hasn't got a back office solution, and they just want, in effect, a stock control and a simple account solution that we have in terms that can sit and wraps with the whole till as a solution. So it's not just Sage 200 we work with. There are others. Obviously, today we concentrated on that just to give you an overview in that respect. But yeah, if you do come across others, by all means do speak to us regarding them.
Pete, are you still there? Pete? Pete Child, are you still there? Have you gone to sleep?
No, I think he's on mute, Richard.
He's obviously nodded off, hasn't he? He's obviously,
Yeah, Pete is there, but he's muted himself, yeah.
He's muted himself, yeah.
Oh, he's coming back, here he is.
Can you hear me? I'm here, can you hear me?
Oh, hello, morning.
Can you hear me? Yeah, yeah, sorry, I've muted on my mobile and on the WebEx, so I got a bit emotional. I got a bit lost, so I'm back now.
I think, are you happy, you're all right with what you've seen for us to just work on the referral and introductory basis, Pete? There's nothing, do you need to do any technical shenanigans with George or Neil? Do you want to set anything up, or are you comfy? What do you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I need to have a think. At the moment, I'm happy as it is, but I just look at the technical details in terms of perhaps looking at polling. I mean, looking at the technology behind the scenes, just so I'm clear if any of you guys need any questions, I can jump in if that makes sense, rather than disturbing anyone.
Because we're going under separate contract with this, that Cameron would have their own contract with the customer, and we're just introducing. It's not as stressful as if we're prime contracting. But I think
I'm happy.
Yeah, I think it would be worthwhile you just making a note to have a little look under the bonnet at some point, just to satisfy anything.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll sort that out. Technically, I'm quite happy to sit and we can do a one-to-one, if you like, in terms of showing you what we do with the Windows services, etc., in the background, so that you just have a knowledge of what's there.
Yeah, the sales team doesn't need to be involved in that because we won't understand it. But as long as Pete says, a happy Pete is a happy life. That's the way we work here.
Because I'm a salty git. But yeah, no, that's cool.
Okie dokie, cool. Any other questions from anybody? Silence is golden. Well, thanks for doing that for us this morning, guys. I think we'll look to see what we can turn up and turn over.
Brilliant. Okay, we'll leave it with you. Thanks very much for all your time, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.